One of the questions that we got this week is about the safety of ride sharing for seniors. And we actually wrote an article about this not too long ago. Is Uber safe for seniors? And the short answer is yes. I myself have used Uber, I don't know, maybe 50 times in the last 2 or 3 years. I have trouble seeing at night when it's raining, or even just after it's rained if the roads are slick. I just can't tell the difference between the lights on the car and the glare on the road, even with anti-glare glasses. So for my safety and the safety of others on the road, I take an Uber if I have to go somewhere in the evening, or if I know that I'll have to be coming back in the evening. But in general, Uber is very safe. And if you live out in the suburbs, it's a wonderful thing to have because we don't often have taxis here like most cities do. So Uber or Lyft, any of the ride-sharing companies, although I think those are the two major ones for sure, are very safe. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they have very strict restrictions and rules on their drivers and the cars. So in general, both ride-sharing companies, the car has to pass a vehicle inspection, not only before they begin using it as a ride-sharing car, but also annually. So every year that car gets inspected, checked to make sure that it's a safe car to ride in. 2, the drivers have to pass a criminal background check before they're allowed to drive for the company, and that background check is rerun every year. And it's things like, moving violations, felonies, violent crimes, of course, drinking and drug-related offenses. And in addition, not only do they have to pass that background check every year, but in addition, throughout the year, in between the background checks, if any of those violations come up, then the ride-sharing company is notified, so they can, dismiss that driver from their service. Additionally, another safety feature is how the app works with the driving process. So we all know that when we order a ride sharing, it's mostly through an app. Although I will say, I'll talk later on about how you can do it without a smartphone and or the app. Well, yeah, without. So, but basically, there are 3 things that I do, and it uses 2 of those use the app. But there's safety features that I do when I order an Uber. Now, when you get a Uber service, you get on your app, you get the name of the driver, you get the type of car that it is, and the color of the car. So you have an idea of what's coming when it comes. One thing I do have to say, Lyft is great. They have that block in the front on their front windshield, so when you see that car coming to you, you can see that bright pink Lyft bar, which is really, really great. It makes me feel a little safer instead of just getting into a car, even though I have the other safety features. I don't know why, but that little pink bar feels good. So hopefully that's not something that you can get off the black market or whatever, and just anybody can post that up. But this is what you can do to be a little safer, just in case that happens. So because you have the name of the driver, when I open the door, and that's the first thing I say is, "Hi, what's your name?" And then, of course, they give me the name that's on the app. If they don't, then obviously I would not get in the car. But that is my number 1 tip. Tip number 1. Okay, number 2, the ride-sharing app has a GPS tracker on there. So not only you can track it on your phone, but also the company is also tracking that car as well. And what I love to do is I love to share. The third thing is, number 3, is to share that ride with someone so that a friend, relative, whomever you share it with, it knows where you are and when you get there. So I like that. It texts them that information. It makes me feel a little safer. And then at the end of the ride, I can also text my friend to say thank you very much for, watching out for me. So those are 3 features that I think the ride-sharing companies have done very well to make you feel safer in going for a ride. I mean, at the end of the day, you're getting in the car with someone you don't know, which is the same as a taxi, but most of us have grown up with taxis, so we're familiar with them, and we know they work for a company. It's a little different, but it's getting to the point now, at least for me, maybe because I've been using Uber and Lyft for so long, that it does feel very much like a taxi service. Only it's out here in the burbs, which is awesome. All right, I did read, although I haven't used, there is an option to verify your ride with a PIN number, but I have not used that option, so I'm not familiar with it. If you are, leave some comments below, and maybe I'll use that the next time I use an Uber. Also, I want you to know that the rideshare companies have insurance protection that covers every single ride. There is an emergency button on the app, at least on the Uber app, that connects the user, the rider, directly to 911 just in case. And for privacy, your cell phone number is never exposed to the driver and vice versa. And that comes into play I'll tell you when I've used it. And when I come home from a trip and I land at the Atlanta airport, I live near Atlanta, Georgia, and we all know the Atlanta airport is, and if you don't know, it's the busiest airport in the world, and it is extremely busy. So when I go to the place to pick up the Uber driver, there's usually 50, 60, 100 people standing there waiting for their cars. So when I get confirmation that my ride is coming, I text the driver to let him know, I'm wearing a red sweater, standing next to number 32, whatever I have that will let him identify me quicker than just driving, wandering through, hoping that I hail him down. So when I text him, he does not see my cell phone number, and I, of course, don't see his, which is yet another safety feature. So I think the ride-sharing companies have done a great job. I know I have been very happy with them. Now, I want you also to know the reasons to use an Uber driver are not just don't just have to be for once in a while, especially for seniors over 85 who have an extremely large number of accidents, and injuries and fatalities are highest in 85 plus demographic, according to a study by AAA back in 2012. I couldn't find a more updated study, so if you have some stats on that, feel free to put it down in the comments. I'd love to put that kind of information out there in our articles. But needless to say, if you're in that older age group and you don't feel safe driving, or you don't want to drive as much, you can certainly use Uber for short trips like grocery shopping, meeting friends, going to church or club meetings, trips to the doctor, things like that. I myself use Uber quite often to go to friends' events. I definitely use it all the time to go down back and forth to the airport, simply because it's such a long and a little bit of a harrowing drive going through the city of Atlanta, at least for me. So Uber can definitely be used as a daily thing. And some Uber drivers have even told me that they have a person that they drive maybe every day to work or to church or to a certain event. So they've become their own personal driver almost to some extent, which is kind of cool. A little driving Miss Daisy kind of thing. Okay, so what if you don't have a smartphone? How do you possibly get an Uber? Well, you can do it through a desktop, and you can do this with Uber and Lyft. You simply go to m.uber.com if you want Uber, or m.lyft.com, and you'll get a website that you can go to. Obviously, you have to have an account with Uber or Lyft, But once you go in there, you can do everything that you need to do with the app that you normally would do with the app. I'll have instructions below on the details on how to do it through your own Uber app. If you wanted to book a trip, let's say for your elderly parent or grandparent or just another senior loved one, you can certainly do it from your own Uber account on your phone, and but you're doing it for them. You're gifting them a ride, or you're giving them a ride, but it's under your account. Also, there is a third-party company called GoGrandparent. Actually, I think it's GoGrandparent. Yep, it is. It's GoGrandparent, and that company will do it for you if you don't have someone who, for whatever reason, uses Uber or anyone else to help you. But you can call a phone number, and again, I'll have that information below. And the phone number is 855-464-6872. And obviously, it's a service for fee, but it's a great service if you need it. Yeah, they do also, just so you know, they do have Uber and Lyft cars for wheelchair service or scooters, if that's what you're using. But unfortunately, they're not in every city across the country or the world. I have a list of them below. They are not in Atlanta, Georgia, from what I see on the list. But just to name a few, they are in Portland, Oregon, in Los Angeles and San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Toronto, the UK, Bangalore, India, Paris, and Newcastle, Australia, and a few other cities. Again, the list will be below in the description below this video. The drivers who do provide the services for the wheelchair and scooters, they are specifically trained to and certified by a third party, sort of like the same with any driver that would drive a van for an assisted living facility or a nursing home. They have to be specially trained and certified to accommodate that type of population and those needs. So these particular drivers have that as well as the actual van, the equipment that is needed in order to accommodate your wheelchair and or your scooter. So I hope this information makes you feel safer about using Uber. I hope you like this video. If you do, click on the bell, click on the like, and please subscribe. We're looking to build our YouTube channel, and send us any questions that you like. We're looking to make more and more videos answering your questions, but this was a very good question because I know a lot of senior friends of mine feel nervous about using Uber, but I think that's mostly just because they haven't done it. Because I've done it so many times, I feel very comfortable doing that. So check it out. Let us know. If you have any other questions, again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.